We are live in Austin, Texas at the Permanent Records Studios. It's the 525 Records podcast. My guest today, Austin comedian Phillip Garcia. Thanks for waking up early.
No problem, Elliot. Great to meet you, man. It was great meeting you at Vulcan the other day.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me here.
I think I pissed off a lot of people.
Who do you like, staff or what?
No. I ran into William Montgomery upstairs, and I was a little drunk. I'm not gonna lie. And, I'm like talking to him, complimenting him, and then Erica comes over, and she's like, "I'm Erica." And I'm like, "Why do you never go on camera?" And then it was like, "Let's go, William. Get rid of this a-hole."
Oh, okay.
It was pretty funny. But speaking of funny, dude, you are a funny motherfucker.
Oh, yeah?
You are so quick on your podcast, man. It's just unbelievable. You're so likable, and I feel like you were born to host a show. Like, that is your calling.
A lot of people tell me that I'm going to be a dad on a sitcom one day. That is my true calling.
Oh, well, so I think you could do either one.
Yeah, I think they're pretty much the same glove, though. Like, it's I don't know. Imagine like a morning baseball radio broadcaster. I feel like that's who my inner dialogue is all the time.
Yeah, radio show for sure.
It's me at a fucking night show. I'm basically, my mind is Stephen Colbert. No, that's not a good comparison. I don't even know where I'm going with this anymore.
It's just so your show, which is, by the way, it's called With Phillip Garcia.
Yeah, the With Phillip Garcia show.
It's awesome, and it's never boring.
Yeah, you really enjoy it?
Oh, for sure, dude. And here's the thing. Okay, I'm sorry, but
no, you're good.
It's not only are you never boring, but you're not inventing a character. You're not like there's no gimmick. It's just you being real and honest and quick on the jump. With whoever you're talking to. Like you did a podcast with Casey Rocket recently.
Yeah, it's doing really well. It's like the best podcast, I think, that like viewership wise, that's the best one I've had. Because I don't know what happened. I mean, between me and Casey's fanship, I guess it kind of did well, but it just took off. And a lot of people, I think or was it you that commented?
Oh, for sure.
525 Records?
I try to watch them all.
You said great content, but someone else said y'all have great chemistry on a podcast.
That was me.
Yeah. That was you? Okay.
Yeah, you guys together, man.
It's awesome, and I meet so many people that I have that great banter with. Tons of comics, especially like good ones. You get to know, and you're like, yeah, we can have a great conversation anywhere.
For sure.
But at the same time, you see so many comics start podcasts together, and it just doesn't work. Like with Phillip Garcia is something that I ideally would like to keep growing as my own individual project. I'm open to I'm about to start another podcast with my roommate. I just want to be better at it in general, podcasting. But I have a disc golf thing in the works right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's such a niche market. I'm going to try to tap into it. But I mean, that, like you were saying about how I've never done a character unless I've strictly done a character and said I was going to do one. Yeah, I try to just do what I like to do.
For sure.
That way I like doing it.
You're good at podcasting. Your audio is so smooth, and you're making so much content on such a regular basis, so consistently. It would be a full-time job, filming, editing, dumping audio, and you recently invested in a green screen. I couldn't help but notice.
Right. Well, that's my roommates. It's like the little things. So like the podcast has had no one home. So it's almost like it's nonstop change. Like if it's not a background green screen, like I said earlier, it's like the car moving in the background, which my family hates. Like we don't want, like texting and driving is a terrible thing, but podcasting and driving, like you got cans on, you got the mic in your face, you got one arm on the steering wheel, and I'm going 80 miles an hour down 35 usually.
Yeah, and you're your own producer. You gotta ride faders, you gotta check levels, and be funny and entertaining.
Yeah,
and drive a car.
You're making it sound more like a crime.
Speaking of cars, I was going through some of your old videos, the hyenas videos.
Yeah.
And you had an Amber Alert joke.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of your solid early bits.
I always use that joke. When someone asks me about my writing process ever, that's the one I use in terms of how material comes to me most naturally.
Yeah.
And the story of that bit is just... the joke is, the premise is I've never seen an Amber Alert with a car newer than 2010 on it.
Right.
And which is something my brother's girlfriend said over drinks at their kitchen table one night, basically. Like we were all just chatting and we all got an Amber Alert. She said that. I don't think I've ever got an Amber Alert with a car newer than 2010 on it.
And it's true.
Yeah, and we just paved over it. Like, we were all like, oh, that's funny. I was like, wait, what did you just say? And I was like, because it was such a like monumental truth. That's what comedy basically is something undeniably truthful that no one wants to really come to grips with.
It's hard to make an Amber Alert joke. If you sat down and say, oh, make an Amber Alert joke, I mean, what do you...
You're going to hack it out eventually.
It reminds me of there's a William F. Montgomery Amber Alert joke where he's like, somebody can figure out
marketing through the Amber Alerts. Yeah, dude.
But you know what bugs me? There's never any resolution, Like, everybody gets the Amber Alert, and 2003 Kia Sorento.
Right.
Look around, I don't see one of those. Oh, well,
Right.
But they should have to text you 3 days later to be like,
hey, we found it.
Yeah, it all worked out okay.
It's actually a great tag, man.
You don't have to worry.
That's a great. I might actually. I don't know if anyone's ever done that, but you don't do comedy, do you, Elliot?
No.
Yeah, I might take that. It's pretty good. It just adds a whole other leg to the bit, basically, if you take that direction afterwards.
There's an incredible amount of power in those Amber Alerts. Think about War of the Worlds, right? In the 30s or whenever they did it, a bunch of people died. Like, they were freaking out in the streets. And the government has this awesome power to just text everybody instantaneously.
Right.
Imagine the power with that. Like, if they were to act maliciously, and everybody's at the club, ding ding ding.
Do you think a man or a woman is in charge of that system?
I think it's a big mystery. Who knows?
You think it is? Could you imagine if it was like a woman and she caught her husband cheating or something like that? Because I couldn't see a man using his job to be petty. Maybe, but I could just see a really like just a really angry woman catch her husband cheating and be like, just, you know what? I'm gonna text the whole country that you're a piece of shit, Jerry. Instantly.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember the Hawaii missile thing, right? It was a fake alert.
Yeah.
Think about a War of the Worlds scenario where everybody on you could create mass chaos instantaneously with that kind of power. But
I forgot all about that they basically terrified an entire state of people.
Yeah. Because you're all at the restaurant or wherever, club.
Did anyone die because of that?
War of the World scenario, you could, but I just think it's incredible that they have that much reach. All the cell phone carriers, they're like,
Right. With War of the Worlds, did anyone kill themselves? Is that what the deaths were? Because people were just terrified?
I think it'd be like somebody got hit by a car and
wow, people were just losing
freaking
their minds.
out. Yeah.
What a time! To think that our collective psyche as a population is so much more developed now that if you heard something like that. Like you saw that new movie, Don't Look Up.
Oh, I did.
We would negate the hell out of an alien attack. And I was like, we'd all just be going about our days. Compared back then, it's like mass media was so new that it was everything that you heard through a radio wave. Like, they knew it wasn't being wasted.
Right.
So they were just taking everything so serious. That's scary to think about.
Precious airtime.
Yeah. Now it's just, I think it's 1 in 100 people have a podcast in America is the actual statistic.
Oh, yeah. It's just
nuts.
millions of podcasts. And this is why I'm so glad you came out so early, because I have nothing to offer you. I have a little music label, and I'm not trying to blow my channel up. I just do my thing. And
yeah, man, of course.
I'm really hoping for a Phillip Garcia bump.
Yeah,
in all honesty.
We'll all go up together.
Cool. So. But I've been watching you since episode 1, and I've watching the progression, getting the subs. This Casey Rocket podcast, it really feels like a turning point where, I was looking at your view counts last night, and you got a pop on all your other videos.
From Casey's.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting you said turning point, because I don't know what it was. Technically, Mercury just entered retrograde, but I don't know why you said that, but I really do. I felt that too, even before I recorded the episode, because I just, my New Year's resolution was to take production more seriously and then get more content out. And yeah, I felt a shift with that episode, and then even with the one I did yesterday. That's what I'm saying. Now I'm gonna start doing 2 episodes a week now, because I have nothing else right now. Because working at Vulcan, it's great. We get to watch the top acts every single night. It's phenomenal, but it does cut out of your stage time if I'm not booked. But if I'm booked, they have no problem letting me go do shows. But it's open mic wise, I'm losing on that end. But podcasting regularly is the same muscle. I feel like I'm staying fresh on my feet, basically, without having to do open mics 3 times a day.
I was going to say, I went to Kill Tony on Monday a couple days ago, and they have it's like a pen where the comics are forced.
The cow pen.
Yeah, it's like, and then here you are, you're like free range comedian. You're just allowed out of the pen.
Well, I was working.
Oh,
I work at Vulcan as a door guy.
Oh, okay, I thought you were off that night.
No, we don't have uniforms. So we just look like, we had to kick a guy out the other night. It looked like we were just jumping him. Just looked like a group of guys jumping a person, but no, this guy shoved one of our door guys, and we didn't hit him or anything, but we had to throw him out of the bar because he got kicked out. But when we're like, you see 5 guys carrying a dude literally and throwing him out, you're like, and when none of us have a Vulcan logo on our back, we're like, everyone's like, what the fuck is going on?
Like Black Ops mercenaries.
Right. Where are their door guys?
I just, as someone that has a small channel that feels the pain of low numbers, it's, there's a freedom in low viewership, which is nice.
Oh,
but,
for sure.
The minute you start getting a little bit of an audience, 1,000 subs, 10,000 subs, now you've got all this responsibility and pressure. And so but when you first start out, there's a little window where you're just totally blown in the wind, free, not a lot of pressure. There's a freedom in that,
For sure. I'm enjoying it. I like to think I'm not like too much of a stupid person. I mean, I'm growing up and coming up in the entertainment business right now in the post era of the Me Too movement. So everything, the day Louis C.K. got canceled, I was thinking about starting to do comedy. I had to go take a walk because I was like, to me, he was such a hero in my mind and matched what I thought my comedic voice was at the time. I was just like devastated. And then because another time I felt tides were changing. I was like, every decision you make now is going to be like, they told us forever. They said, look, we have these things in our pockets and they're going to record everything you do, and you're going to everything you do is going to be judged by the public, everything, even in private. And that's what's basically what we do now. So yeah, I do enjoy the freedom of having low viewership count, but I also try to think drastically into the future. Like Rogan has that bit about how there's a 4-minute compilation of him saying the N-word online. Oh yeah. I don't want to I want to keep my compilation under 2 minutes. Yeah. That's what I'd like it to be ultimate. I don't want my N-word count to get above a 4-minute link. Could you imagine? Yeah. Like that's just why you keep saying it. Stop saying it. Like you're talking to yourself in the future. I hate hating myself more than anything. And when you do get a little bit of clout, you start getting haters, and now you're dealing with haters all day and trying to produce content. It's a double-edged sword, So you gotta think of them as trolls. There's a lot of trolls, man. You can do anybody's podcast, and there's just someone that's angry, someone punching buttons somewhere that's not happy, and they're gonna. I don't know. Have you ever talked shit in YouTube comments? Yeah, a little bit. It's euphoric. It's sometimes, you drink a little too much. You get a little too expressive. What do you know about Woodstock 99? Limp Bizkit is the shit. That's me, basically. 2 a.m. Yeah. every night. Like every other text thread, the context gets lost. So you start out trying to say one thing and you read it back and it's like, oh no, what did I just do? I kicked Facebook for that reason like 4 or 5 years ago. I don't even think I was out of college yet when I kicked it. I was just like, I use this to let y'all know when I accomplish something now. Because I got a degree in PR and advertisement and learned what basically the different platforms are for. And, that's the only thing Facebook is for. It's a gloat show. Like, look at me, I'm doing well today. I was just watching the episode with Parker last night. You were talking about working after you got out of school, and you worked as a meat packer at Walmart. That was during school. Okay. After school, I worked as a marketer for Berkshire Hathaway Automotive at a subsidiary called Metro Auto Auction. That's a cool place, but I used to just basically make the graphic design flyers to sell like thousands of cars every Tuesday. Right. You ever see that movie, The Goods? No. Oh my God, Jeremy Piven. I love Jeremy Piven. Yeah, it's a great movie. It's about used cars and selling them. I'll have to check. Is it on anything right now? I'm sure it's on Netflix or somewhere. I'm halfway through Snatch for the first time. I put it off for a long time. That's the one. Snatch is. I've been watching so many movies lately. It's like Irish gypsies, right? Yeah. Yeah. Where I'm from, there's like a big population of Irish gypsies. I don't know if you want to talk about this or not.
I was going to say, you're from Dallas?
I don't even think you can call them. I think they're Irish travelers is what you're supposed to call them now. I'm from Fort Worth. It was like right up there. Every time I say Fort Worth, they're like, oh, you're from Dallas. I'm like, no, I'm from Fort Worth. They're like two separate skylines.
One airport.
Right.
DFW.
One airport. Or there's two. There's Dallas, Love Field, which is still pretty big.
If you're flying Southwest.
Right. And that's it. Everything else, you're just going to go to DFW.
DFW is a nightmare of an airport. I mean, it's enormous.
Bigger than Manhattan.
Yeah.
I read that on a Snapple lid one time.
Houston's pretty bad.
Houston, Bush or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. I did not. I flew out of Bush one time and I didn't like it. I lived in Houston that's where I started comedy 4 years ago. I did it like for a year there in the greater Houston area in Huntsville, Texas.
Yeah.
There's like 8 federal prisons. Oh, man. Started on a Tuesday the last Tuesday of the month because I watched some guy bomb and I was drunk and I was just like, hey man, if you're going to talk about killing yourself for 15 minutes, you should try to make it like funny, Yeah. Like, I gave him some tags before I even knew what tags were that you shouldn't do this to a comic unsolicited.
Right.
Because I wasn't a comic yet. And his friends were like, well, if you think you're so funny, why don't you go ahead and do it? And I did improv for years and stuff. At that point, I was like, I'll give it a shot. I've always thought of stand-up bits in my mind. Went up, did well for 5. Got booked immediately after I got off stage. Right. And I'm pretty sure that guy did kill himself.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
That's intense.
Right?
Well, that's one of my notes. I was going to ask you, what was that first open mic like? And I mean, it's got to, depending on where it is, it's probably
It was on it. I mean, it felt right. I definitely felt like I was like, I just fucked my life up because I knew it was it was like doing heroin.
Right.
I know people say that about everything, but it really was. I mean.
And then did you have that bombing moment shortly after that where you have that initial open mic, it goes really good, and then you wind up getting a little too cocky and then bombing at some point?
Yeah. So I was doing really well because I had ideas and I kind of knew what to do. Like I said, I did improv, and I like to think I'm pretty self-aware especially of a room and what they think. And then through that open mic and then a couple ones after that, I didn't bomb until I went to downtown Houston. And then I did an open mic at like 1:45 in the morning. And I did the same material, like 2 or 3 of the 8 jokes I did in the 5 minutes went great. And then the couple of them bombed and I had to reevaluate. And you're like, because comics are very hard on themselves even before they know they have to be.
Right.
So you're like, okay, even if there was 2 people in a room and they were passed out drunk, it's my job to wake them up and make them laugh. So I had to that's the moment I started to learn that. I was like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the room's like. If it's 1:30 in the morning, like you have to rise to the occasion and be someone who's funny at 1:30 in the morning in a dead room. And that's how you get better.
Those 3, the 2 hyenas videos, they're some of your older stand-up clips. They're about 5 minutes each. Mm-hmm. But all 3 of those sets, it's very different rooms. There's one where they are there to laugh and they're having a great time.
Yeah.
There's one where they're just like salty and bitter and they're, right. The lady's like calling out your punchlines and you're getting heckled. Yeah. And it's so fascinating to see the same material work in those 3 different environments,
Right, it's the way they respond to them. Like, if you can make something work at an open mic, the chances of it going well at a comedy club on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday night means it's probably going to get a really good pop.
Right.
It's nuts to me. That's one thing you see some comics do it for 3 years and never get any opportunities, or 4 years and never get any club opportunities. And you're like, man, you want to see them put in that club setting once because they're not getting the crowd that they deserve.
Right.
Maybe they're a bit of an absurdist,
For sure.
Like imagine if you didn't know William and he came into an open mic and then tried new bits. You'd be like, what is going on right now? And until you came to grips with that this was this was the whole point of what was going on right now. And that you need to shut the fuck up.
Who the fuck said that?
Yeah. That would be funny then. But if you were just a Karen and you didn't know what a sense of humor was, you would be losing your mind.
Bro, even the Kill Tony fanatics who, I mean, everybody in that room is a WFM fan.
Right.
When he starts doing those, man, I got my guns in my truck. I just want to start blasting. Like, you can feel the tension. It's palpable.
Right.
Like,
some people, all the wives of the fans that come that don't watch the show with their husbands are like, what is he talking about?
Yeah.
And the husbands are always just losing their shit because they're like huge William Montgomery fans, dude.
But even everybody there is a KT fan. Everybody's there and knows William, and it's still like, whoa,
Right.
Like, it's pretty crazy.
I love that I get to watch him do that a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like it's better the more I get to hear him say that he has guns in his trunk. Because it's like I'm almost starting to believe him. Like I'm almost working now and I'm like, does he have guns in his trunk? And I like I said, I see it so much now. I'm actually like I think he might.
It's very convincing. It's believable. Like,
right.
We know you're joking, but it could easily be, dead serious. At least it feels that way, but that's the magic of the delivery and that.
Right.
But I mean, Kill Tony's a lot of pressure, for a stand-up. I mean, it's a big platform, and you are famous for being on episode 500,
right,
at the Paramount. We're talking Joe Rogan, episode 500. You got Kaylee half naked cleaning mics,
literally right before. Yeah, Tony's cancellation, everything.
Yeah, and it's not your average Kill Tony show. This is a pressure-packed moment, and you go up and you destroy.
At the Paramount.
Yeah.
That's one thing. So they, like the pig pen now, we keep everyone behind those pig pens in the corner.
Right.
We were kept in an alleyway that time. So we didn't understand, none of us, we didn't even hear the show. We couldn't hear the show going on. They would come out and say, so-and-so was just picked. Are they here? No? Okay. But we didn't, from outside, you couldn't understand especially if you've never done a stage like the Paramount before. You don't understand what that's. Luckily, I was in orchestra and stuff growing up, so I had done halls like that and knew what it like to stand on a stage. But it was still, with even that like knowledge and that like the feeling of, I guess you could say, nostalgia. I was just like, that's the biggest room I've ever done in comedy.
Oh yeah,
is the Paramount. Which is huge.
It's a huge moment.
Walking onto the stage felt like, and then I walked by Joe Rogan,
right?
And it was the day I moved to Austin. I mean, I literally my car got a flat tire.
That's as famously recounted in your interview, which also went phenomenally well.
That was that's which is crazy.
And you wound up with the Ridge wallet.
I did, with like $500 in it, which luckily covered all the tow fees and tire cost, which was amazing because that ruined me. I feel like Joe Exotic.
Yeah.
I'll never financially recover from that. I was like, I'm done here, dude.
Dude, halfway through your set, you can hear Joe talking to Tony, and he's like, "This is the best show of all time."
Right.
And then after that, he's like, "Hey, man, you're really fucking funny."
Yeah.
And,
I wish he would recognize me now.
Yeah.
Well, he got a little tipsy on that episode, but
This is your Hans Kim episode. It's like one of the lowest view totals, right?
Right. Yeah.
And it's like you're exposed on this gigantic platform. Right after that is when you start with Phillip Garcia, episode 1. Mm-hmm. Just starting from scratch, just building, mm-hmm. and now you've been grinding at it. I mean, that was 9 months ago. It feels like 9 years ago,
right?
And it's there's just no breaks for anyone,
No, there's not.
It doesn't matter. Like Hans Kim still in a van, I mean,
right.
It's incredible. Like even when you have that much exposure, it's still just,
you have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, like one of the biggest inspirations for me is like, I found this out this year actually, was that Gabriel Iglesias, his entire career has collected emails.
Right.
I mean, when he was touring the whole country, when he was doing like 5-person rooms, I mean, he would kill those 5-person rooms. And then he would be like, give me your 5 emails.
Yeah.
So when I come back, you're here. But then the next time he comes back, he gets, another 5 or 10. And the next thing you know, in 5 years through touring through the same cities, 300 people are showing up saying, you got to see this guy. He's phenomenal. And now he's doing Toyota centers and stuff. But it's all because he had the wherewithal to be like, you got to do it yourself.
Yeah. I mean, the days where, you're looking to get repped and move to Hollywood and, do it that way, I mean, they're just dead and gone. And it is now just independent content, grinding out a fan base. It's hard to do,
Yeah, shit, even fucking corporate entities are they don't even make their own commercials anymore. They put out competitions so that other people do the work for free for them, and then they say, if viewers get selected, we'll pay you and you win, which is neat. But also, like, it's like taking real estate agents out of the home buying process, and for entertainers in a way, it's like, we used to. I guess now I have to produce, edit, create, and act all on something if I want to do it. As compared to previously, you probably just got like some type of commercial acting agent.
Yeah.
Right.
Or just getting hooked up with an agency that is going to, take
work
care
for
of
you. Yeah.
I mean,
the bad agent thing is not a cliche.
No.
It's so true, dude. It's not even, it's a stereotype that's factual. I know so many comics at my level and like slightly above me and well above me that have agents that they just like, they do nothing for them. And that everything they do, they collect 10% of. So
are you familiar with this book?
Is this the one? I think I've read the beginning to this. It's a fictional one though, right?
Yes.
It's the one where he like his family and stuff, or I forget what it is, but it's a comedy is a revolution for him, basically.
It's, highly regarded in the stand-up. I just got done reading it. I thought it was excellent. It's very descriptive. It's fiction, but it's I'll
have to read it, man.
A road comic. I highly recommend it. But he has a manager that stopped caring about him, and he was a huge success early, and then he got a bunch of he had an HBO special, fictionally,
right.
And when he was on top, his manager was great. Everybody loved him. He was making money, and then he's kind of a road, rough road.
A road dog.
It's basically a week in the life of a road comic, and he's just drinking and doing blow the whole time, and just really getting in fights, But also, he.
I think I know the guy this book's about. Yeah,
he's trying. He's like committed to dumping his manager and starting over, and he just can't pull the trigger. And anyway,
I couldn't imagine how good it is, dude.
It's pretty damn good. It's very descriptive. I couldn't put it down. It was fascinating, and it's supposedly a really accurate depiction. It starts on Sunday, and he's going from like Amarillo up to Fort Collins, Colorado, playing all these little podunk comedy.
I might know exactly who this story is about. Well, I know it's fictional, but it's like I know the story.
It's fictional, but there's also real world things. Like he's good friends with Norm Macdonald, and Sam Tallent is the guy that wrote this book. He writes Norm like unbelievably well. Like you can just hear Norm saying that kind of stuff.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to read any excerpts and bore the hell out of people, but
I've heard the craziest story. Man, there's just one. I have a buddy. I won't like name drop or anything, but he got drugged one time. Him and the guy he was on the road with got drugged by, they believe, firefighters because they made fun of him during their show. And there was only like 15 people there. And then afterwards, one of them was standing around. And then after that, they just woke up the next day without any remembrance of anything, like an alleyway with their keys missing.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's a very similar scene to something in this book. He, he's out trying to score cocaine after a show, and he winds up at a bar, and they kick him out. So he's on the streets of Denver in the ghetto, and he's sleeping on a bench. And this guy comes up, and he's like, "Hey man, what are you looking for?" And he's got crack. They start smoking crack in an alley. He gets hit by a brick, wakes up, naked in an alley the next day, and has to, start the day all over again.
What the hell?
And yeah, I mean, stuff happens.
Yeah, it's easy not to romanticize that part of stand-up comedy.
It's a little exaggerated,
I wouldn't say so though. I mean, I like at that level, that road dog lifestyle. Like I said, there's a lot of comedy that goes on in bars and stuff like that in Fort Collins, Amarillo, small Texas towns where that stuff does happen though. I mean, it's not far from fiction. It happens probably every day. Like I have stories that aren't mine to tell, but like I could just go on for hours about this. I've heard piss being drank out of Gatorade bottles because you forgot which, like stupid shit like that where you're just,
Dude, I mean, like even somebody that's incredibly successful, like Mark Norman, for instance. Look at his tour coming out. He's Omaha,
right?
Wichita. Just
you did Brian last time he was here,
dude. He never stops working or drinking, and it's just like, how do you do both? I mean,
it's just what this life is. It truly is. Like you, Bukowski, Hunter S. Thompson. I don't know. Right now, I'm getting into Vonnegut. Vonnegut. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I got the Slaughterhouse it's like a whole collection. I'm like trying to get into it right now.
I have not read that, but I am a Bukowski freak.
Yeah,
I love Bukowski.
He's drinkers.
Have you ever seen the movie Barfly?
I know it's about him though, right?
It was written by him, and then Mickey Rourke played him.
I'll have to check it out. I watched a documentary on him. That's why I got hooked on him. Bukowski. Speaking of Casey Rocket, the whole postal thing he went over, I thought of Bukowski.
I only know Casey because he was on your show.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, this guy's amazing. And then I start looking him up, and I'm like, holy crap, this guy's kind of a big deal. Like,
you gotta watch Casey's comedy. If you're a comedy fan, if I'm on an open mic and Casey's on the list, I only said I'll watch his Casey's. Yeah. Other than mine, like because I'm performing it, not to be like pretentious, but just because more than likely that comic is gonna be running a set I've heard of them do before.
Right.
But like Casey is just, I love watching that guy work.
Yeah. And, his whole thing, like, I wake up at 1, I go to Taco Bell, like, I know that kid. I was that kid.
Right.
I mean, I'm old. I feel like I'm too old to be hanging out with you guys because I'm in my 40s.
But, not at all. That's comedy's one, come all,
Yeah. But how crazy, like, here's this guy with this huge following. He's well respected in the community. And, I'm always on the lookout for whoever's doing comedy around here, and I've never heard of him or seen him until he was on your show.
Right.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, but that's what's crazy is I didn't find out about Casey Rocket until through you, like, because YouTube too.
Right.
He just came into my recommended one day because of I follow someone he did a comedy festival with, and then next thing you know, I was 2 years ago before the pandemic. I was a Casey Rocket. Like, I gotta find this guy when he had like no views on his videos.
Right.
So this is another open micer that I just want to get like-minded with. And then now I'm in the same town as him. So when I saw him, I kind of had to knock to the curb a little bit of like what's it called?
Starstruck.
Yeah. I was like, I gotta shed that. I don't know why, because I just like his comedy so much.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to not think of him as like this weird little riff god.
Yeah. But he's just, like your average buddy kid.
Right.
That's just this.
That's the thing. He's just a normal guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then, you got to get him over to the house. And whoever, do you remember, for a while there, you were living with a guy named Bilaal.
Yeah. I work with Bilaal now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I saw him on Kill Tony too. He did a 9/11 joke, which is, I'm always on the lookout for any of these really degree of difficulty. Anybody makes a 9/11 joke, school shooting, just not the easy grinder stuff, like trying to have a degree of difficulty to it. He really impressed me with that. And the second time he was on, I don't know, I mean, I caught it. I don't know if he did, but as he's walking to the stage, Tony's like, oh yeah, this guy's a murderer to the guest. And, and then you guys start podcasting together, at the house.
Yeah, he was a good roommate. We lived in a living room together for 8 months with no walls or doors or anything. So
yeah,
I mean, it was me, him, and Justin Essenmacher splitting a 1-bedroom.
Yeah, and those were the early days of With Phillip Garcia show.
Right.
Some really good podcasts.
I like them too. I miss the chaotic energy of the household a lot, but it's also fun to do without sometimes. I do miss them like a lot all the time. Like Bilaal is great. Bilaal is a guy who believes in brevity above all else in terms of comedy. So I mean, yeah, living with those two. Also, we were all three completely different people. Like I'm a pretty cut and shoot stand-up comic. You can identify my stand-up or my setup, my punchline, my tag.
Yeah.
Bilaal is more of a one stanza. Jesselnick type, deadpanner with act outs here and there, and then Justin Essenmacher is just a shit show on fire. Like he just pisses people off. He has jokes that are just crazy. He's like the devil crowd worker. So why is this still me? Sorry about that. But yeah, that dynamic of us three was always entertaining.
Right.
We wanted the cameras rolling in that house all the time because me and Justin would get in fights, not physically. And then you just have like Bilaal with comedic breaking, or really what it was we were all competing to make Bilaal laugh.
Right.
Because he's such a quiet person.
He is. And
so to get a laugh out of him is like a victory point. This weird way.
It seems like he's kind of tall too.
He is.
So he's like this just imposing.
He's 6'2". I owe him my life. He got jumped recently for my car.
Really?
On 6th, yeah.
What happened?
We were getting off work at like 3 a.m. and we walked back to my car. I always call him because I'd moved out recently, but I always still call him if I can to see if he needs a ride home. Because like, I love Bilaal. If he might live with me again at this house I'm living at now. But I call him. He's like, yeah, I'm grabbing food. I'm like, okay, sweet. Meet me at my food truck. I'll take you home. And when we get to my car, there's like a bunch of dudes leaning on it. And then I was like, hey, get off my car. And then Bilal's quiet, but when he yells, it's the most terrifying thing in the world. He was like, get the fuck off the car. And these guys were like, hey, who you talking to like that, bro? It's not worth losing your life over, all this shit. Well, like, Bilaal gets in their face, and I'm like, bro, just go home. They're like, come get your boy. I grab Bilaal, put him in the car. And then the guy, like, stands in the doorway right before Bilaal closes it. And he's like, who the fuck you think you are talking to like that? And then Bilaal was just like, through his ass. And then gets out of the car and then proceeded to get jumped by 6 people.
Holy shit.
Everyone's like, where were you? I was like, I was in the car. Seatbelt just put on. I was like, by the time I got around the car, 6 people had done him in. Like in 5, it was, yeah. They all got one good punch on him. And then one guy hit him with keys between his knuckles. And he split his eye pretty good right here.
Fuck, dude. Is he all right? I mean,
he's totally fine. Yeah. He was laughing about it while it was happening. Dude's a maniac.
That's crazy.
Psychopath. I've lived with the frame. Everyone's like, I think Bilaal hates me. I'm like, no, he's just Bilaal. He's quiet.
Yeah, funny motherfucker.
Very funny.
Yeah. That's crazy. You know, I didn't get. We're doing this pretty early today. I didn't get a ton of sleep last night. I don't know what side of town you're on. I'm staying on the east side right now.
I'm on east side too.
Did you hear the gunshots at like 2 a.m. last night?
No, dude, I was still at work at 2 a.m.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was at a latchkey at 2 a.m. So
it sounded like it was coming from the 35, somewhere around there, but it was like probably 14 gunshots. And at first it was just a steady, just bang, bang, bang for about 10 shots. And then it was just popcorn, and then dead quiet.
I can't believe that shit, man. And then I really can't.
The scariest thing is I'm listening for sirens. There's nothing. Like after that, I'm like, it's like, you know, fucking pandemic of gunshots out here. I mean, yeah, it's crazy.
It's just crazy to me. I don't know much about Austin, but I know about like Houston and Dallas, Fort Worth, and it's just like I don't remember it ever being like that anywhere in Texas, other than like some really tough parts of Houston or maybe some like southeast Dallas.
Yeah,
but even then, not as consistent as I thought it would be here. I don't know if it's because it's just not public. But I don't think Austin is. It's just nuts. What some people get, like working there on 6, man, the shit that people get away with and the shit that they don't catch.
Right.
I mean, they don't catch those shootings have you ever seen? I mean, if they caught a shooter, it would be huge news, but they've never caught one, not once.
It seems to be always at 2 a.m. There's some type of raging gun battle between.
And they say there's cameras everywhere now, but why haven't they caught anybody yet? It's ridiculous.
It's just off 6th Street a lot of times too, but
it's always in the alleyway that I do trash bags in.
Oh yeah,
most of the times we're doing trash bags, and if you hear it, like you just go the fucking side. Like it's not worth losing your life over.
Right.
To make whatever we make doing trash bags at the end of the evening, you know, it's crazy. It pisses me off, like to no end, to know that it's just unsafe.
Supposedly they had some safe 6th Street initiative. They were trying to, and that's where the cameras came in, and they were trying to light better.
Right. And then Vulcan had live active shooter training and all that shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, and you know, apparently all the business owners are rather fed up with the violence and with the stuff down there.
You know how many people are packing on 6 now that are just like, the other day, like a bachelorette party of like 6 girls, all in like those little pink cowboy hats, all packing.
Yeah.
And we didn't know until, I'm not going to mention that, but they didn't come into Vulcan, we'll put it that way. And they were all packing.
Right.
Because they had heard that 6th Street was dangerous. And I was like, you don't need, all 6 of you don't need, and 6 Barbie dolls don't need guns when they're drunk.
Yeah.
It would have been bad if any of them had been in charge. They were hammered too. I was like, y'all don't need firearms right now.
Right. I mean, the whole thing about concealed carry is, if you're drinking, your gun is not with you.
But it's just crazy that people feel that that's necessary at all.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, I feel it's necessary at some point. Like I said, I feel pretty unsafe there after 2 a.m.
It seems to be like, I don't know, I was just reading the recent ones, like 2 people got shot at the lodge not that long ago, apparently, but it just seems to be this prevalent theme of last call, 2 a.m. look out for bullets. I
don't know what that's about either. I know it's because like There's always a fight in the back alleyway.
The cat fights are crazy. I mean, there's so many. There's like channels dedicated to Dirty Six street brawls.
My Instagram story is becoming one because I'm there every night.
Yeah,
I'll videotape the course. This is what we do. We sit outside. We pray to God that the horse shits right in front of Vulcan,
right,
so that we can watch drunk people walk through it all night.
Oh, dude! I mean, that's
like candy.
No joke. I was watching somebody do a video a couple days ago. They were on 6 in the daytime, and they're filming a shot, and this homeless lady walks by the camera, right in the center of the shot, drops trow, dumps right into the street. Pulls up her pants, keeps on walking.
I know which one you're talking about.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
It's pretty viral. I don't know.
I've watched a lady use a tree to get herself off, the bark of a tree, to get herself off. And then she laid on her back and then proceeded to piss with her legs up in the air in an arch fashion forward. Yeah.
And, you know, I was expecting a much worse... apparently, there's been a lot of homeless initiatives going on. They've spent almost $200 million here in the last couple of years on, homeless prevention. And, I was fully... I spent a lot of time in Portland. The homeless situation there is out of control.
Even
it's just...
here, I'd imagine.
Every underpass is a tent city. There's just garbage. They're constantly setting on fire,
Is there shootings like there has been here, though? Or like gun violence like there has been?
Dude, I mean, they ran a story on it. Homicides are up like 800%.
In Portland?
Yeah, in Portland.
So I guess it makes sense that it's homeless on homeless violence.
I'm not so sure. I mean, like here, I may be way off on this. This is pure speculation, but it seems like there's these bands of gang, like drug dealers.
Well, no, they own the homeless people.
Right.
They run them as like ports for income.
Yes.
And then if it's crazy.
And it's like a racket. Like, you want to sleep here, you got to pay.
Right.
But also, you got all these hipsters and people moving here, and there's somebody supplying the drugs. So it feels like a lot of these raging gun battles are just like warring drug clans
basically
going at it, because it's always a gun battle. It's not like, it's like always two sides shooting at each other. But
right.
Welcome to the 525 Records podcast, where we bum you the fuck out.
I'm not bummed out at all. Yeah. But it is just nuts.
But as a report for somebody that's out of town, the homeless situation it's almost not even noticeable compared to what it was.
How long have you been here?
I don't know, a couple days.
Yeah.
But where it used to be.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Dude, ACL came, Austin City Limits happened, and they cleared all of them out that night. The night before.
Okay.
So under 35, that overpass right there off 6th used to be complete. Like every parking space was a tent
It was
block.
a tent city.
Yeah, there's probably like 300 tents underneath there.
Yeah.
Now, nothing. But there was 300 one night, and then the day before ACL started, that Friday, they were all gone.
It's crazy. I mean, like, I was like, before I got here, I'm like, man, I don't want to stay on the east side. I have to walk. Like, you couldn't pay me to walk across the 35.
No, now you can. You can scooter relatively easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But apparently, I don't know. That's my buddy that lives. He's been here like 20 years. I was out with him last night, and we were talking about. I was like, I heard they bought the city spent $5 million on this Candlewood Suites in North Austin, and it's going to be like
homeless shelter.
Yeah, homeless shelter.
I hope so. I mean, I hope
that'll fix it.
It's all a mental health crisis, and until that our government understands that people with an extreme mental health disorder can't make their own decisions, there will continue to be homeless people. These medication denial is huge. Drug addiction is self-medication. It's just this massive slippery slope. My mom works in social work. I've seen it my entire life. The solution is to take away people's rights that can't utilize them. It's just if there's a platform I'll stand on, it's that. And I'm a huge I think mental health is a massive crisis, but I think that the solution is very stark and it's real. Like you can't allow people who don't know what's real to make their own decisions. Right. They need helps. And then if they get to a better place, but there needs to be programs where we vet these people out. Like, okay, you're on, but check in. Are you taking medication? You need to be administered medication. They have to take the medication. It's so crazy sometimes.
It is. It's such a mix. Everybody wants to have a blanket solution.
Right.
Like all homeless people are the same, but it's such a mix of people that just want to be on the street for whatever reason.
That's a thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are some people who are just complete like sovereign citizens and that's really popular in Austin. There are some guys who just really enjoy not having a home.
For sure.
And they just think that Yeah.
And I mean, there's a lot of people on drugs. There's a lot of people that, were one paycheck away, like all of us.
Right.
And then before you know it, you're sleeping in your car and it's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like in California, dude, there's half the population, they work, they have a car, they have a cell phone, they go to a job, and they're sleeping in their car or they're sleeping outside or whatever.
Yeah.
Because you just can't afford to live anywhere, But
I'm really blessed in my situation right now that I'm not it's not too official. So the rent is really low. But I mean, anywhere else you're paying $1,100 a month for a 1-bedroom.
Can you dish some inside baseball on Vulcan and kill Tony? Like, what do they pay you down there? Just ballpark. I mean, is it...
so I'll just say like an average door guy on 6 makes anywhere from I think it's like $10 to $15 an hour. And there's usually like a percentage tip out. So I won't get too specific just because I don't know how much they want me to say.
Right.
But it's about that area. So, you probably make like $100 to $150 a shift.
And does that depend on the show?
Yeah.
Like, did you work Rogan last night? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So your tip out for a Rogan show is going to be way better than it is for, because he sells 300 tickets every time.
Right.
Compared to someone who's sold 150 tickets.
Well, I was going to ask you, what is the capacity of that place? It's hard
300 tickets sold total, but we can fit, I think I don't know the fire code level, but I know it could probably fit 400 folks standing all. So they used to run EDM shows there when they'd have like 300 people, 400 people in there, I swear.
Yeah, a lot of before the pandemic, a lot of hip hop shows.
Yeah.
Too. But are you on the secret show?
Not any time. No, I'm not. Okay. I haven't been on in a minute. I need to message Red Band about it. It's been a while. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. That's what Mom always says. But
I was thinking about going. I'm just looking. There's still like 9 tables. Like, I don't think it's supposed to get cold tomorrow.
Yeah,
snow or whatever. I think there's gonna be nobody there tomorrow night. So.
I've always my mind. Comedy's dead season has always been the week before Christmas to Valentine's Day. It's just when people are either recouping from Christmas or then refocusing towards Valentine's Day. So, and then weather-wise too. Right. Comedy does best when it's 72 and sunny.
It's true. Yeah.
And not too hot, not too cold. People like it when they can go out and have a nice round of drinks before the show. And then when they leave, they can have another round of drinks.
Absolutely.
Like right now, it's 19 degrees is what they're saying is going to be when you get out of the show tonight.
The forecast has changed.
Right.
I've got aviation weather subscription. So nice. 2 days ago, it was pretty dire. Now it's not going to be as bad as it was
good deal
billed to be. So
yeah.
Hey folks, be sure to head over to 525records.com for some amazing artists and amazing albums. We've done a couple of music videos, most recently for the band Less Cash, their song Scenery. Check it out. All the podcast episodes are there. You can find news, updates, any of the old episodes, and a ton of great music and artists that you can listen to for free on 525records.com. Now, back to the podcast where we talk about the amazing Casey Rocket.
We're talking about Casey again. The kid is the next Elvis Presley in my head, dude.
So you guys are into occult stuff?
I love it all, dude. I've lived I'm like half Hispanic. So there's a little bit of like
little Santeria,
Rona and stuff, like all that shit.
Are
Being
you
scared by ghosts as a kid to learn lessons?
Are you into like symbology, Manly P. Hall, any of that stuff?
I anything, honestly, man. I don't think, like I like to say, the world is not black and white. There's definitely, like I did DMT once, okay? Like I get it. I really do. I don't think that anything is real. The moon landing wasn't real, apparently.
Okay, let's run down the conspiracy list. Kennedy assassination.
Inside job by the CIA.
Okay.
Yeah.
9/11.
9/11 was an inside job to, promote a war economy, basically. Yeah.
And the coup de grace, flat Earth.
Flat Earth is not, the flat Earth isn't real. I just don't think we've ever been to the moon.
Right.
I think the original moon stuff was fake, and I'm really on it this week because I'm 2 degrees of separation away right now from Elon Musk. That's really, I've never thought about it like that, but I am. Well, technically in some aspects 1 degree, because I know, but it's just crazy. I'll just say that the moon landing was not real, apparently. Isn't that crazy to think about and know that you know someone who knows something? Like you're like, if that guy said it and I was told that, maybe the moon landing wasn't, that's just scary to think about, man.
Well,
I'm going to be killed for this podcast now.
No, dude, that's the thing about the moon landing. You have 3 guys in a capsule the size of a VW Bug,
Right.
for over a week,
Less than Game Boy technology.
with no bathroom.
Right.
So the official story, they had what were called fecal containment bags. So all 3 of those dudes for a week trapped.
I just had the stupidest laugh. Sorry.
Well, you got to pull down your spacesuit.
Yeah.
It's a Velcro Ziploc bag.
Oh my god.
You've got to, in 0G, poop, seal it, and then keep it in the capsule. I mean,
no way.
Come on.
No way.
Come on. Plus, the special effects were pretty groundbreaking at the time, but when you watch a lot of that Apollo footage back today, it is just it looks like little models like you would see in a movie in the 60s.
Right. And it looks like, I mean, you see the pictures of the wires being pulled, you see the picture like the wind on the flag, the shadows that are off angle that look like studio, like shadows naturally don't point towards each other, especially if it's from a fixed, like one fixed light. So it's weird. The whole thing is weird.
There's an Italian documentary. I think the guy's name is Massimo, but he interviews all these famous photographers that are primarily in the fashion world, and he's got this portfolio of Apollo pictures. And they're just going down the list like this can't be real. This defies photography.
Right.
This and then you think of I don't know, the Hasselblads, right? They weren't special. They're just it's a Hasselblad that's chest mounted. And anybody that knows photography, when you get to extreme temperatures, cameras don't behave well.
No.
And here you are, it's minus 200 to plus 200, depending on whether you're in the sun.
Yeah,
or
I never
not.
even thought about that. You would not be able to even snap a photo with something that was like had a mirror in it or anything like that, I imagine.
Well, that's the thing too, because picture yourself in a spacesuit with a helmet, and you have a chest-mounted camera. Like, just put on a jacket, strap a Polaroid to your chest,
and there's no digital footage yet,
and you can't focus, you can't.
And they broadcasted it.
The phone call with Nixon, that's with no delay, But just try to take.
I didn't even think about that.
Every one of those pictures is perfectly composed, perfectly in focus. Plus,
it's a Kubrick film. It's like a Wes Anderson. It's basically perfectly balanced, right? Like it makes sense that we faked it. Right. I mean, it's like if we went today and we took a photo shoot in Ukraine of us, them like eating hot dogs and French fries, and we were like, we were here first. You know what I mean? Sorry, Russia. Find a new place to invade. It's like the same weird aspect, I guess. Like, Russia is the enemy. It always has been, and it makes complete sense that we were like, we gotta win this dick length contest real quick.
Yeah, and it's 60 years later, nobody's been back. I mean, you've got robots and probes, and they'll have fantastic looking footage, like when the Chinese sent their probe, came back. But in all reality, the chances are slim. There's a boon in military spending. You would think, with the fleecing of the Defense Department, every year they get $1 trillion. Like, if people knew how much money the government has lost through DOD, it's trillions of dollars, all on defense spending.
Veteran friends who are like, you don't understand that there's like $25 million worth of Humvees, gasoline, and our ammunition sitting in a desert right now, rusting because it's not being used.
Right.
And you paid for it.
Yeah.
Your entire life worth will not pay for what that's being like decayed by sand right now.
Yeah. And in the 80s, Star Wars was hot. What you should have had, number one, is spectacular photography, which there seems to be a clear lack of. But also, this military spending in space. I mean, it's, unaccountable. Everybody's for it. It's not like going to war. Everybody wants space exploration.
Like the military experimented with invisibility. You ever hear about that experiment? They made like the whole battleship disappear on Lake Erie or something like that.
That's the Philadelphia.
That I'm talking about. But then like people came back and they said they were like warped into the ship and stuff like that.
Yeah. That's an interesting story.
That's a really interesting one.
But they have cloaking devices that refract light in a way where you just wrap this thing around you and you just are like a chameleon. And there's also something called I think it's Wanta black. It's the darkest black that exists.
I've seen that.
And if you're in a suit like that at night, you're not even
basically
shadow.
moving black.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're in it. it makes everything look flat when you look at it, right? Because it captures all light on corners and everything. I think I've seen that. I see on YouTube, they show like a video of like a cube of it, and it just looks flat from all angles because it's so dark.
Right.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah, I love a good conspiracy. I'm also of the mindset like you can't. I know like it's like you can't go too deep. I know some people who have like thrown away lives because of it. You're like, I don't know, man. QAnon was like a mental health pandemic too. I mean,
for real.
Yeah, it really like. There was a Thanksgiving that my whole family didn't show up to because of like the 2016 elections. You're like, what the fuck is going on, dude? Now it's, I'm the conspiracy that the world ended in 2012. Have you heard that one?
Oh yeah.
I think I'm prescribed to that.
Well, just reality itself is coming under question. You know, there just seems to be this stalled 20 years ever since 9/11. I mean, you know, the thing is, you don't have to go full conspiracy to know that there's some shady shit that went down with 9/11. Like, it doesn't, you don't have to get to flat Earth to make that make sense. You know? And it really is. It's troubling. There's still people out there that are like, trust the plan. You know, they're still out there.
Well, I'm also like,
still believing.
You believe it though, like to an extent. Like you hate to say, like, yeah, they're right though. Like you remember, like Kevin Spacey in House of Cards did the whole. These people are so stupid; they need to be governed. They don't even know it. And
the noble lie,
right? And it is true. I mean, human, like we have to be governed. Otherwise, if we had no idea how to be like, if we weren't systematically raised, everyone would just be killed. Like you cut in front of me at the gas station because there's no. I agree with government. I think that ultimately we're going to lose everything. I think it's inevitable. I don't think I have any control over it. I don't think they have any control over it. Like it's that don't look up thing. Like everyone at the top is just as stupid as you think.
Right.
That's why it's all going out of control because no one's actually steering it.
I don't know how anybody can still believe in politics at this point. I mean, the magic trick is that, you know, as you get older, you start to see, oh, I'm not going to fuck voting. If it really mattered, they wouldn't let you do it. You know,
if it really mattered, we do it on our phones.
Yeah. Yeah, if it was really,
right. You can scan your ID on your phone.
But, you know, the older generation gets apathetic and leaves, but they're always targeting this younger demo.
Right.
Speaking of which, I don't think we have any cross demo whatsoever. I think my average listener is, you know, probably not into comedy that much, you know, much more music.
You're mostly working in the music field or music industry, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I put out records that are sort of like languishing. You know, somebody like does a record and then it just sits and never gets distroed or anything. You know, I'll come along and scoop it up, master it, upload it, you know, stuff like that. That's awesome. But that's fascinating, man, because I would never take you for being into conspiracies. You don't give that vibe at all, you know?
Do I look like a pothead?
Maybe a little, I don't know.
It's getting more and more evident as I get older, but I used to look like just a good old boy. I used to have a mullet, like my driver's license picture, I have a mullet. I used to work on a ranch occasionally with my buddies during the summer. I did live that life. I grew up Christian as hell, Lutheran. Like I have Jesus tattoos on my body.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah. And then, like I said, like my parents split up. My dad's gay, so like all these super crazy Southern Christian ideals raised, implemented, and then after 12, very progressive, forward-thinking, emotionally like mature family after that. So it was definitely a unique shift in my life at a unique time. I was about to my balls were about to drop basically, and I was like, oh, I guess I'm doing this second part of my life, you know, thinking with an open mindset now. Because I mean, I had to, you know what I mean? Like the whole dad thing, he talked about that Kill Tony 5, like that joke is real. And it got to a point, you know, where you're like, that was such a pivotal moment. Probably why I'm a comedian today. You know, like you learn, I guess I could be like mad or confused about this the rest of my life, you know, from behind a desk or do whatever. Or I can take it and realize like, I think you just gotta laugh at this because it's fucking hilarious. Like, you take away my personal involvement from the situation, it's truly the biggest predicament, like worst predicament I could imagine. It's just the funniest predicament I could imagine.
Yeah, I mean, you could
literal sitcoms written about this shit.
Yeah, you couldn't write it if you tried.
No, you couldn't. And I tell people that, and they're like, "That's the real." I'm like, "Dude, that's real. I'm not lying to you." They still don't believe me at face value. I'm like, I promise you, it's real. Like, it's the reason I tell jokes, because I know, like, even the most serious things in life, you just laugh at them.
That's the most beautiful thing about comedy is there's a truth factor that if you don't have, then you might as well give up because it's never going to work. And challenging your beliefs is incredibly hard to do. You know, I mean, for a lot of years, you know, I'd never question any of this stuff. And then, you know, one day it's like one little thing where you go, and then it just starts you down the road of, well, maybe if that's true, what else are they doing?
And it's like self-liberating in a way. When you make those really, really true statements to yourself in your own story, like you're saying, like it's just when you're true with yourself like that, and then you get more closer to who you are, and then because of that, you get this, like you're saying, perpetuating truth coming in. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, the whole dad thing is great. He saw that episode, Kill Tony 500.
Yeah,
he saw that happen, and I didn't know how he was going to react to me airing that. And he messaged me eventually, text me. He's like, "Hey, just watched Kill Tony 500, and so did all my friends and coworkers."
We should play that clip right now.
We should. They were like, he's like, "I want you to know, I thought it was really funny." And then the last time I saw him, he came to see me at a show in Dallas. He was like, the set was like a 6 out of 10. I didn't like how it went very well. He's like, "You should have opened with the gay dad bit." And I never do it when he's there because I don't want to.
Right.
But the fact that he told me, he's like, "You should have done the gay dad bit," I was like, all right, bro. Like, I'll fire your ass up in front of a crowd.
On the biggest stage, in the biggest pressure-packed moment.
Yeah.
Kill Tony 500 at the Paramount Theater. Joe Rogan. This was Phillip Garcia's opener. Here we go.
I see phones. I see you lying. I see a lot of your phones out.
Drunk on ivermectin.
Put your fucking phones away. Ladies and gentlemen, your
Terrible
next comedian
people.
goes by the name of Phillip Garcia.
Fuck yeah.
Phillip Garcia.
I love Phillip.
You know Phillip. We know Phillip. He's been here before. Hey. Ba, ba, ba. Oh yeah, this is a monster, everybody. Make some noise for Phillip Garcia.
Let's get a little clap going, everybody, just like. Hey everybody, and I'm here to say that my name's Phillip, and I'm not gay, but my dad is. Yeah, my dad's gay. He's fucking my friend from high school. My weed dealer from high school, right? My wife's a Pornhub title at this point.
Forgot about that tag.
And I still can't get a good deal on weed either. What the fuck is that about? I don't know how to tell my dad that he needs to suck better dick. That's a... Used to call him Papa Bear, not so much anymore. You know, it's a...
Got that tag too.
I should have known when we were kids, we'd go on bicycle rides, he'd take his seat off, and that's gonna be the, Thank y'all, Phillip Garcia.
I mean, talk about brave. Like, you've got material that you know will kill, and I mean, when you start doing that, like, come on, everybody, let's get a clap going. You've seen other comics do that, and it never
goes that well.
Yeah.
When I first did, the thing was, the way that start came about for that joke was, it was such a, I would go into the bit and it would get a laugh just for me saying, you know, my dad's gay and he's dating my friend from high school, and that would be like, what? Like, I gotta find a way to make this surprise like settling. And so another comic friend was like, "You should rap it." And I just do a little bit of "Hey everybody," and then it was like, "Yeah, you're right." And then I was like, get him on beat, and then that happened, and then I've never looked back since on the delivery of that bit, because it's just it's the only way to present that information, especially with a minute. Like, I had no prior material to that. That's the only way to really jump in like that.
And, you know, you're talking about Louis C.K. earlier and the cancel culture. It's so fickle, and everything can get taken out of context. I mean, they could easily rip you a new one and say, "Oh, Phillip."
Right.
You know, I mean, it's just, and, you know, talk about courage.
Yeah. If you, I don't know if you have your Instagram pulled up. I sent you that message of the audio of the interview afterwards. I don't know if you've ever seen this reel before, but after a couple of big names started giving me some nice little accolades, I decided to clip it up and you heard it.
That was funny. You're really funny.
You made the three of us laugh out loud, and
Fuck yeah.
and that's not the easiest thing in the world to do.
But you're really brave too.
And you got really good punchlines. And
Your subjects are brave.
Thanks, Joe.
You're really brave.
you got really good punchlines. And how old are you?
This is fucking genius.
And you got really good punchlines. I didn't start doing stand-up.
I could listen to that all day.
Your
Right.
subjects are brave.
If I'm ever feeling down.
So
dude.
your light years are where I was at 24. I would encourage you to go at this full blast, man.
You're really funny.
And you got really good punchlines.
Dude, that was funny. You're really funny.
You made the three of us laugh out loud, and and that's not the easiest.
It'll just keep looping forever.
That's the greatest supercut I've ever seen. That's amazing. I'm so glad you shared that.
I don't know if that helped me or hurt me when I tagged him. I tagged him.
What do you
so
have to
hard.
lose? You know?
Right. I don't. They didn't get any. They don't run their Instagrams. Maybe Joe does, but I know Ron White probably takes a selfie every once in a while. But I'd imagine.
Yeah. But this is, there are no breaks, man. Like you succeeded. You were welcomed with open arms into the Kiltony Mafia.
Right.
And, like in my mind, I'm like, this kid, I see him start a show. Dude, he's going to have all this exposure. He's funny as fuck. He's so likable. He's born to host a show, radio, podcast, something like that. It's just super quick. And then, for the last 9 months watching, the pain of putting all this work into all this content, and now it's finally, I feel like there's been a big turning point. And just in the last couple of weeks, especially on the heels of the Casey episode.
New Year's, new me. New year, new me. Yeah, it's like you said earlier, it's like it's a full-time job, and it is. If you're not physically working on it, you're actively thinking about it. Like, one of the craziest things to me is like, I try to bring a notepad into podcasts. It never goes well. I don't actually have any segments ever written down. I may have like a loose idea of what's going to happen when I go into an episode, but for the most part, it's just let me get to know this person naturally.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it, but like Joe Rogan has laid the blueprint for what it's doing. He's like, just be yourself and try to be that person. And then like the video he posted about the whole Neil Young thing recently.
Oh,
he's like, I'm just a guy who has people I think are smart on my podcast.
Yeah.
And I perpetuate their ideas that I like.
I got to tell you, man, it's been painful to watch all of my musical heroes just
what is going on?
One by one.
He said last night, that it's just it's a game that they're playing, that they're trying to get market share, equity, like, because Spotify's not a United States company. Amazon is. All these artists are just leaving to go to Amazon to take market share over there and hope that it works. And it will, because all the artists that are moving, who's their demographic? It's like 55 plus, right? For the most part, Neil Young.
Yeah, whole, who's Neil Young spiking in Google searches.
It's an audience that will pay $1.39 a song to have it on their phone and think that that's still okay to do.
Yeah.
Like it used to be on iTunes. I mean, every 3 months I call my mom and I run her bills down because I say, who's charging you for what? Because she's getting to an age, she's only 53, but Charter Spectrum tried to take advantage of her all the time. I'm like, I'll just call and bitch to her home insurance company for an hour and they'll knock the rate down a third just because they thought they could charge her because she's an elderly woman who doesn't argue with them.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous what companies try to get away with just a little bit at a time. So
it's just fascinating to watch, I mean, like, dude, anybody that listened to Rogan in the early years, Fleshlight was the big sponsor.
It was,
like it was never a serious thing. It was
like 5 comics smoking pot.
Yeah. And now you just, I mean, for better or worse, you get all this attention. And
I would love to think that my podcast gets to a point where I have people on that have, very, very important things to say. But I would also hope that when they come on, it never becomes a platform for someone else's agenda. I hope it's always just something that I met someone, and for me, it's a social tool. I mean, I use it to meet, like I've gotten to meet you and get to know you. I mean, more so me, I've probably done a lot of talking It's one thing I
what
always
I was
leave a
hoping.
podcast. I'm like, comics are usually so self-aware. It's just like you leave a podcast, you're like, I think I talk too much.
This has been the easiest podcast I've ever had to do because I knew you were going to carry the whole thing. Listen, I am not photogenic, and this is a rare video episode for me. I don't normally do video, so,
Right.
But
It looks great, dude. This whole studio is awesome.
Yeah, shout out Permanent Record.
Gotcha.
Austin,
Do you
Texas.
always do it remote, or you like if you're in
No,
the studio?
I mean I got all the same gear. I just don't want to have to fly with it,
Right.
You know, and set it up, mics, cables, that whole deal, cameras.
When I first started my podcast, I thought it was so easy. I enjoyed setting up my podcast. It was just like 5 or 6 wires plugged in, and now every time I do it, I just leave it set up. That's another reason I'm doing more right now. I'm not living with 3 people in a 1-bedroom, so I'm able to just completely have my setup up the entire time.
Yeah,
So
that helps a lot.
It really does. Because like yesterday, my friend Brittany came over and I was like, "You want to do a podcast?" I was like, "You're blowing my ear up anyways right now." Might as well do a podcast.
Ledesma?
Yeah,
Is that-
Ledesma. She came on. She showed her toe. She said, "I could show my whole foot right now and make you famous." I was like, "I don't think I want that."
Dude,
That's dope.
yeah, the foot thing is crazy. Like I don't know if you watch Annie Letterman at all, but she's got like
Yeah, she blurs her feet out. She
Right.
also can't have her name on any Comedy Store list because she has like crazy stalkers apparently.
right. Well, it's a real thing. It's funny as hell.
People are disgusting, man. I know so many comics who like negate themselves stage time because they don't want to put up with just like chauvinistic like things. You know how hard it is to be a female stand-up comedian that looks better than a 6 or a 5 or a 4 even, and then go to an open mic where people are delusional, most likely like manic, and then telling jokes about their penis on stage to a room that doesn't want to hear about it.
Right.
What do you think they're going to say to a woman in private?
Yes.
Yeah, it gets really, really strange. I feel really bad for a lot of female comics, but they stick together.
I stayed at the Hotel Van Zandt 2 nights ago on the Kill Tony night, and the next morning I'm in the lobby killing time in between Airbnbs, and they had 10 models that they were getting scouted by this guy. He's some agent or something, and so he's videoing everyone and doing interviews, and it was 10 of the most beautiful girls you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
But if any one of them tried to do stand-up and they were even remotely good, there's some weird thing, about really attractive people. I think it goes both ways, but really difficult, for females.
It's hard for hot people to be funny.
Yeah, and like Kim Condon, she's a smoke show, hilarious.
Right.
Sarah Weinstein. I mean, they're out there. And
They exist. They do, but they have like a Terminator mindset. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like fuck you, pay me. Like my roommate is a female comic, and there's so much respect for her because she's all about the business. Like she's like fuck you, pay me.
Right.
She's like I don't want to like. She's really good at that. She's comfortable with herself and her body. And she's like this is mine. Like if it's my brand, my personification, if it's going to be my own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's very, very powerful in that way. Liz Splatt is who I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
You may know her. She's hilarious.
Yeah, she is funny as fuck. It is. It's so much harder. You gotta really give it up.
Yeah. I personally have a rule. I try not to. There's only ever been one occasion, but I never have any type of relationship with another comic. You just can't.
There's a lot of comics that are really drastically different offstage.
Right.
And, I think what works on your show is you're the same dude.
Right.
You're just having honest, truthful conversations, and it's entertaining and funny.
Exactly.
There's a lot of people that are it's just like a shift. Like whether they're inventing a character to perform on stage and then they get off, and it's like a polarity flip or something.
It's like they're trying to be what they think radio was.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, I'm back.
The personalities in comedy. I mean, it's just there's no end of psychopaths to really good people. I mean, the spectrum is wide.
Really good people too. Like you're saying, there's a lot of really crazy psychopaths. Man, I've met some really, really out there people.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the energy, of doing a live show like that. You just never know who the fuck, but like, I mean, give me some inside baseball on Kill Tony, because like sometimes you got to say to yourself, the bucket has to be rigged tonight. Like there's got to be a percentage of.
I will say the bucket's never rigged. I mean, of course, there's probably like 2 or 3 people who are banned.
Right.
Their names can't go in the bucket, but that's because they did something they did something to, You're never kicked out. You did something because you threatened the safety of the show. You said something on,
Right.
And it's not like I'm not talking about multiple people. I'm talking about like probably like one or two persons. I don't even know who I'm talking about. I just know that they've done it before.
And they keep signing up.
Right.
They keep showing
Well, there
up.
was a guy for a while who was stalking the place, and they thought for 1 minute there was a guy who like cut the power at the building because he was so jaded about it all.
Yeah.
So, I think that it's pretty equal opportunity. He does try to pull the female names out of the bucket. There's no telling how many times anyone's name has been thrown out for that, because he pulls them out. He doesn't use them out.
Right.
But other than that, it's a pretty. Kill Tony is amazing for a Monday night. It's even. I mean, like he said, the bucket is completely even pool, and if you go up there, I know it's not rigged, because there's been nights I'm like, I wish it was rigged.
Right. That's good to hear, man.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it just is so, there's synchronicity is like, you can't ignore it. And it's like, is this really even theoretically, statistically possible that all these things happen and apparently it's good to hear that
It definitely
some inside
does.
baseball that it is.
Yeah. It's all very, very genuine, man. I love that show. I love the people. People have bad times on there, but that's because they don't know what a podcast or what it's like to be on a show.
Right.
You all, whatever show you're on, you pay your host respect. You let them whip and narrate the show. And then like some people get on there and they think they're going to tell Tony how it's done.
Right.
That's literally the worst possible person you could tell. Like he has a formula to tear your ass apart.
Oh,
that's
it's
proven.
Vicious.
Yeah. I love Red Band. Red Band as a producer gains so much respect getting to watch him up close, because I don't watch him do his soundboard.
Oh,
how quick he is. I mean, he's a phenomenal producer.
And now that you
responsible for all the podcasts.
For sure. And for when they were on the road for a while, the audio would be different in every city, and now they have the sort of a home base, it's the sound system's getting dialed in, the audio is much cleaner, the levels are better,
Right.
Just everything all down the line.
Yeah, production, multi-camera angles. So
Phillip Garcia, thank you.
No problem.
For doing the 525 Records podcast. Let's get some plugs, man. Do you want to plug anything?
we got February 19th at Central Texas Gunworks. I think it's at 8 p.m. Doors at 7. It's a free show. So come on out. There's free beer. There's free pizza.
And what is this garage show?
So I run a show in my mom's garage. I usually do it once a month. She has like a big hangar size garage in her backyard. I usually pack it out with like 60 people. And then I grab some of my latest friends in comedy and I get them there. And we do like eight sets, 8 minutes apiece. And we all have a great time. And then we close it down and hotbox the garage afterwards.
Good times.
Yeah, that one would be like at the end, probably end of March, last Saturday in March. So
cool, man. I wish I could check one of those out. That'd be awesome.
I'll let you know.
Phillip Garcia, thank you for doing the 525 Records podcast.
I feel like I should shake your hand or something, but yeah, we're podcasting.
Fuck it.
Thanks for having me, Elliot.
Yeah.